Hi everyone, welcome to the next session of design and drawing of reinforced concrete structures. Up to now, we have discussed about the analysis of doubly reinforced beam as well as we discussed about the design procedure of doubly reinforced beam. Today, we will try to solve one design problem on design of doubly reinforced beam. First, I am reading the problem. After the given parameters, I will write on the board and we will solve the problem. The given problem is design a doubly reinforced rectangular simply supported at its both ends to carry a service live load of 25 kilonewton per meter and superimposed dead load of 16 kilonewton per meter over a clear span of 7 meters. Use M25 grade concrete and Fe415 grade steel. This is the problem they are asking us for to design the doubly reinforced beam. When we are designing doubly reinforced beam means while applying the load on the beam, the limiting moment capacity of the section exceeds the applied moment. In those conditions, we are designing the beam as a doubly reinforced beam. Again, step by step, briefly I will explain the different type of steps for design of doubly reinforced beam. The first step is we have to calculate the span to depth ratio. Later we have to calculate the effective span, as well as after calculation of effective span we have to calculate the what are the different types of loads acting on the beam. After calculation of load calculations, we have to calculate the shear force and bending moment. For that shear force and moment of the section, we have to provide the steel reinforcement. After provision of the steel reinforcement, we have to check whether the provided reinforcement is within the permissible limit or not, or it is exceeding the permissible limit. That we have to calculate. That means we have to calculate the minimum reinforcement, maximum reinforcement. After calculation of minimum reinforcement and maximum reinforcement, we have to calculate the check for shear. How much shear is going to be to that beam, that we have to get. After calculation of that check for shear, we will check the design shear strength of the concrete. By considering all these design steps, the final most step is control of deflection. That means by provision of width of the beam, depth of the beam, as well as by providing the reinforcement in the compression zone as well as in the tension zone, how the beam it will may get to deflect due to the application of the load. The designed beam is deflection within the permissible limit or not, that we have to design. That is the final step for our design. Let us start our design procedure. They told that they given the one simply supported doubly reinforced beam. The clear span of the beam is equal to 7 meters. Live load acting on the beam is 25 kilonewton per meter. Dead load acting on the beam is 16 kilonewton per meter. Materials they are given in the problem FCK equal to 25 kilonewton per meter square. Instead of M20 they are given in the problem it as 25 newton per mm square. Yield strength of the steel they are given in the problem it as 415 newton per mm square. First we will solve the first step, that is I am writing here step 1. First step is step 1. Step 1 we are having the cross sectional dimension. These steps I am writing to easily remember the different type of steps. You need not to mention this step procedure in our examination, you can write also, no problem. The first step 1 is cross sectional dimension, that is nothing but span to depth ratio. The step 1 I am writing here cross section dimensions. Cross section dimensions. Cross section dimensions. From this I am calculating the span to depth ratio. Again from IS 456 2000 page number 37 clause number 23.2.1. for our beam is a simply supported beam. For this simply supported beam, based on the support condition, based on the loading condition, we have to calculate the span to depth ratio. I am writing that class, that span to depth ratio from IS 456 2000 page number 37 and clause number 23.2.1. From this clause we have to calculate the span to depth ratio. That means that span to depth ratio for a simply supported beam. For this condition I am taking this span to depth ratio as 12. For different type of span ranges, for different types of heavy load, medium load, small load, how much span to depth ratio we have to take, that I have already mentioned in our, I have sent one image in our group. If you observe, based on that span to loading condition, we have to calculate we have to take the span to depth ratio. From this span to depth ratio, we have to calculate the depth, where here depth is nothing but the effective depth. From this I am calculating the effective depth of the beam, that is nothing but span by 12 equal to depth. For span they are given the problem as 7 meter. That 7 meters I am calculating in terms of mm. That means I am writing span it as 7 meter, 7000 divided by 12 I am bringing this side, and depth I am taking to that side. That means 7000 divided by 12 equal to D. 12 equal to D, where D is the effective depth of the beam. If you calculate 7000 divided by 12, you will get some value. That means 7000 divided by 12. We are getting this value as 583. Okay, I am getting this effective depth of the beam D equal to 583.33 mm. What I am doing means I am considering, or I am taking the effective depth of the beam as 600 mm. Why? Because to carry the additional load, here the load is maximum, dead live load is 25 kN per meter, dead load is 16 kN per meter. Here maximum load is there. To reach that moment, instead of 583, I am taking this extra depth. That extra depth is 600 mm. You can also take 580 also no problem, 590 also no problem, 600 also no problem, 610 also no problem. For my requirement, I am taking this effective depth of the beam as 600 mm. Next, what I am doing means, based on the stirrups providing in the beam as well as the longitudinal reinforcement providing in the beam, we can calculate the effective depth of the beam. Directly I am taking the, or I am assuming the effective cover of the beam as 50 mm. I am assuming that effective depth of the beam as 50 mm. See, D equal to 600 mm. This is the effective depth. Otherwise I am writing here effective depth equal to 600 mm. Effective depth equal to 600 mm. This is the value we are taking from this clause number 23.2.1. Now I am assuming the effective cover of the beam. Assume effective cover. Assume effective cover. That effective cover we are naming it as D dash. Effective cover we are naming it as D dash. Assume effective cover D dash equal to, I am taking this effective cover as 50 mm. I am taking this effective cover as 50 mm. Again this effective cover also I am assuming that clear cover plus stirrups plus main bar divided by 2. You can calculate by using adapting of the reinforcement bars, as well as directly you can adapt the 50 mm or 60 mm based on our requirement of the design. Okay, now we will calculate the total depth of the beam. Next step we are having total depth of the beam. Total depth of the beam, that is total depth capital D equal to effective depth plus effective cover. Effective depth we are having D plus effective cover we are having D dash. That means D is the effective depth 600, we are assume that value, as well as D dash is the effective cover we are taking from the top step, that is 50 mm. If you calculate all this, you are getting this value as 650 mm, where 650 mm is the gross depth or total depth of the beam for our doubly reinforced beam. We calculated the effective depth of the beam as well as total depth of the beam. Next step is effective span of the beam. The effective span of the beam, again we are taking it from IS 456. 2000, okay, class. If you observe here, in some conditions what they will give means, instead of clear span, directly they will give the effective span in the problem itself. In those conditions, you need not to calculate the effective span of the beam. Calculate the effective span of the beam. The generally for different types of beams, the widths we are taking it as 200 mm, 230 mm, 250 mm, 300 mm, 350 mm. Generally, for different type of small residential building structures, generally we can take the width of the beam as 200 mm, 230 mm, 300 mm, 350 mm. For generalized conditions, for to coincidence with the wall thickness, generally they will adapt the thickness of the beam as or width of the beam as 230 mm. Okay, we can write this point. The general width, generally widths are general width used are the general width used are the general width used are okay. The general width used as 200 mm, 250 mm, 230 mm, 300 mm, 350 mm. These are the different types of beams width generally adapting. Here we can assume these values in between, any width we can assume. For my requirement, for my interest, for my design, I am considering this width of the beam, or I am assuming the width of the beam as 230 mm. Assume width of the beam. Assume width of the beam equal to 230 mm. For my condition, I am taking this width of the beam as 230 mm. You can take 250 also, no problem. 300 mm also, no problem. 350 also, no problem. Next we will calculate the effective span of the beam. Again, the effective span we are taking it from the IS 456 2000 code book. Okay, I am writing here effective span. Okay, you can write this as a step number, or directly you can calculate in step number 1. Directly I am writing this as step 1, the effective span. Again I am writing this class, that is again from IS 456, 2000, page number 34, class number 22.2. The effective span is, it is the distance between the clear span plus effective depth of the beam, as well as clear span plus center to center distance between the supports. Already I have mentioned this diagram. Suppose if you consider this is as your beam, for this I am providing the width of the beam, that means support of the beam here, as well as I am providing this support of the beam in this side also. Suppose if I am considering this width of the support as well as width of the beam, it has 230 mm. For this effective span calculation is nothing but clear span plus effective depth, as well as clear span plus distance between center to center support. Okay, from this I am calculating this effective span. Okay, effective span equal to clear span plus effective depth, or D effective, as well as clear span they are given in the problem itself, it has 7 meters or 7000 mm. The clear span they are given in the problem as 7000 mm, as well as we are calculated the effective depth of the beam as 600 mm. That means 600 mm. 7000 plus 600, 7600 mm, or I am writing 7600 mm or 7.60 meters. This is the one step how we are calculating the effective length or effective span of the beam. Next we are having the one more step also for calculation of the effective span. How we can calculate the effective span? For one more step also we have, that is nothing but again effective span equal to clear span plus center to center distance between the support. Effective span equal to clear span plus center to center distance between the support. This is the clear span, this is the center to center distance between the support. Clear span plus center to center distance between the supports, center to center distance between the support. This is the calculation for effective span. Clear span again they are given in the problem as 7000 mm or nothing but 7 meters, and the center to center distance we are having this width of the support as 230 mm, as well as this width of the support also as 230 mm. That center to center distance we have to calculate. That means 230 divided by 2 plus 230 divided by 2. From this we can calculate the effective span, that is 7000 plus half of this and half of this. Finally you will get this value as 230 mm. Finally the effective span or L effective we can calculate, we can take it as effective span as in terms of L effective. L effective equal to 7230 mm or 7.23 meter. 7.23 meter. We have to adopt the value whichever is less of the both of effective span. I am writing here adopt whichever is less, adopt whichever is less, that is effective span L effective equal to 7.23 meters is the smallest value that we have to calculate. That is nothing but 7.23 meters. Up to now this is the calculation for effective span as well as effective depth. Next step we are having the load calculation. Again I am mentioning the diagram. Suppose if you consider here, this is your beam and here we are providing the support, and here also we are providing the support. This width of the support as well as width of the beam we are taking it as 230 mm. Here this is the distance between two supports, 230 mm, and this distance between the support also 230 mm. The clear span they are mentioned in the problem as 700 mm or 7 meter. This is the clear span. The distance between center to center support 7.23. This is the value. We are taking it from the, we are calculating it from the both step. This is the procedure. Next step we are having the load calculations as well as shear force and bending moment diagrams, as well as moment of resistance and the area of the steel. Okay, next step number 2 we are having the load calculations. In load calculations, what are the different types of loading condition they are asking in the problem. Based on that we have to calculate the dead load, live load, of that ultimate load or factor load we have to calculate. If you observe in our present problem, directly they gave the value of dead load as 16 kN per meter. That means including the self-weight, any additional dead load acting on the beam, directly they are mentioning the problem as 60 kN per meter. In some conditions they won't mention the dead load acting on the beam. In those conditions you have to calculate the self-weight of the beam with respect to the cross-sectional dimension of the beam, as well as what type of concrete material they are using in the preparation of the beam. That material we have to substitute with the unit weight. That unit weight is width of the beam as well as total depth of the beam, unit weight of the concrete. If you multiply, all these will come as self-weight. That self-weight is nothing but the dead load of the beam. For this condition directly they are given the dead load. You need not to calculate the self-weight of the beam. The dead load given in the problem is 16 kN per meter, as well as live load given in the problem it has 25 kilonewton per meter. While designing the members for slabs, one way slab, two way slab, in those conditions they will give the floor finished loads also, that also will calculate in next subsequent lectures. If you see here, total load, next step we are having, we know the dead load value, we know the total load value. From this we are calculating the total load value. The total load value equal to combination of dead load plus live load, that is nothing but 41 kilonewton per meter. Next we have to calculate the factor load or design ultimate load. You can write it as factor load or design ultimate load. That factor load is nothing but total load acting on the beam and multiply with the partial safety factor. This partial safety factor again we are taking it from the IS 456 2000 code book. For different types of loading conditions we are having the different type of partial safety factor values. For limit state of collapse under flexible condition we are having some partial safety factors values, as well as limit state of serviceability we are having the some partial safety factors. For our present condition, the partial safety factor we are taking it for limit state of collapse under flexible condition, hence why we are taking this value as 1.50 for both dead load and live load. Suppose if you are designing the beam as for doubly reinforced beam as limit state of serviceability, in that situation we have to take this partial safety factor as 1.0. This is also we are taking it from the IS 456 code book. If you see a factor load, W equal to total load into partial safety factor. Total load we are calculated, the calculated value is 41. Partial safety factor value we are taking it from IS 456 as 1.50. If you multiply these both values we are getting the total ultimate load or factored load or design ultimate load acting on the beam it has 61.50 kilonewton per meter. For this amount of load, what is the bending moment acting on the beam, how much shear force is coming onto the beam. For that shear force and bending moment we have to calculate we have to provide the reinforcement 61.50. This is the uniformly distributed load acting on the beam. For this load we have to calculate the shear force and the bending moment. Next step number 3 we are having the calculation of ultimate moment and shear force. Ultimate moment and ultimate shear force, that means finally how much amount of moment is acting on the beam, how much amount of shear force is acting on the beam, that we have to calculate. That ultimate moment mu equal to Wu into L effective square divided by 8. Okay, directly uniformly distributed load we are having the moment, that moment formula is nothing but Wu into L square divided by 8, where this Wu is the load acting on the beam due to combination of the dead load and live load. L effective we are calculated from the step 1, that is effective span of the beam, clear span plus distance between the support. That value we are calculated as 7.230 meters divided by 8. If you calculate this 61.50 multiplied with 7.23 into 7.23 by division with 8, you will get the movement acting on the beam. The beam is bending in the for the moment of 401.84 kilonewton meter. This is the calculation of for the ultimate moment of the beam. Next we are having the ultimate shear or shear force acting on the beam. How much amount of shear force is acting on the beam due to the application of the load, that also we have to calculate. That shear force Vu equal to, again the shear force value is nothing but Wu into L effective divided by 2, where W is the again factor load or design ultimate load, L effective is the effective span of the beam. They are calculated for this design by 2. If you substitute all these values I am getting this shear force acting on the beam Vu equal to 322.32 kilonewton. Always remember this shear force is the force that we have to mention in terms of kilonewton either or in newtons. Shear force Vu equal to 322.32 kilonewton acting in the beam. Suppose if you observe here, this is the beam, positive bending moment and negative bending moment. This is the positive shear force and negative shear force, and this is the beam bending in such a way that. And if you observe what is meant by positive bending moment and what is meant by negative bending moment, suppose if the beam is bending in this direction in this way, in those conditions we are naming it as positive bending moment. Suppose the beam is bending due to application of the load, due to some any additional forces, the beam is bending in such a way. In that condition we are naming it as negative bending moment. Okay, for this positive bending moment and the negative bending moment, to resist that we have to provide the additional steel reinforcement. Up to now, step 2 is the load calculation, and step 3 is the how much amount of shear force and how much amount of bending moment is acting on the beam, that we have calculated. Next step we are having the limiting moment of resistance. Limiting moment of resistance is nothing but by provision of some width of the beam as well as depth of the beam, by giving some characteristic strength materials to the concrete, what is the beam can carry the load or what is the beam can carry the movement, that we have to calculate. That is nothing but the limiting moment of resistance. This limiting moment of resistance also we can take it from our IS 456 code book. These formulas you have to remember. Okay, step 4 we are having the limiting moment of resistance. That limiting moment of resistance, mu limit equal to Q into FCK into BD square. This is the formula for how much amount of moment the beam can carry, that we can calculate by using this above equation. If you observe, the limiting moment equal to 0.138 into FCK into B into D square, where Q is the value we are calculating it from based on the grade of steel we are using in the concrete. What type of grade of steel you are using, either you are using Fe 250 grade or Fe 415 grade or Fe 500 grade, based on the grade of steel we have to calculate this, we have to keep this value as either 0.138 for Fe 415, 0.133 for Fe 500, 0.148 for Fe 250 grade of the steel, where FCK is the characteristic strength of the concrete. Many people they will make mistake in this both to FCK and Fy value. You should have to thoroughly check this, what type of grade of concrete, what type of grade of steel they are given in the problem. Otherwise the entire design procedure will make it wrong. Okay, mu limit equal to 0.138 into FCK into B into D square. If you substitute all these parameters, the limiting moment the beam can resist it as 310.50 kilonewton meter. That means by provision of the width of the beam as 230 mm, effective depth of the beam as 600 mm, if you use the characteristic strength of the concrete as M25, in those conditions the limiting moment we are getting it as the 310.50 kilonewton. If you observe here, the applied moment due to application of the load already we are calculated. The applied moment or ultimate load acting on the beam we are calculated it as 401.84 kilonewton per meter, whereas the limiting moment is only 310.50 kilonewton per meter. By changing this cross-sectional dimensions of the beam, the limiting moment it will may increase. The limiting moment it will may increase. Suppose instead of effective depth you are taking as 600 mm, if you take it as 1000 mm or 1 meter, the limiting moment it will may enhance. By providing that much effective depth to the beam, it won't give the aesthetic appearance to the building. Hence why without changing the cross-sectional dimension to the beam, we are providing the additional reinforcement in the beam to resist the additional movement. If you observe here, the ultimate moment is 401.84. Here we are getting this moment, limiting moment as 310. Almost 90 kilonewton load is difference is there. For the to resist 90 kilonewton meter load, we have to provide the additional reinforcement. That additional reinforcement we are providing in the compression phase as well as we are providing in the tension phase. How providing the additional reinforcement in the compression phase and tension phase we'll discuss. If you see here, mu is greater than mu limit. That means 401.84 kilonewton meter, it will be greater than limiting moment of 310 310.5 kilonewton meter. In those conditions, the beam you cannot design as a singly reinforced beam section. We have to design it as a doubly reinforced beam. And if you hence it is observed that this section is over reinforced section, so design it as a doubly reinforced beam. In doubly reinforced beam, instead of double over reinforced section, we have to design this beam as a balanced section. If the beam is under reinforced beam, then you can design it as a under reinforced section. Whereas if you get the over reinforced beam section, you have to design it as a balanced section. For this additional movement also, the provided depth compulsory, it will be not sufficient. That means for 1.84 kilonewton per meter, what is the depth you are provided here? If you calculate if you check the effective depth provided for this movement, definitely the value it will be more than the provided depth. Hence why without changing the cross sectional dimension, we are providing the additional reinforcement. For showing you, I will substitute instead of effective depth 600, I will substitute the 1 meter, that means 1000 mm. What it will happen, we will check. Okay, if I am increasing the effective depth of the beam as 1000 mm, 1 meter, the limiting moment I am getting it as 793.50 kilonewton per meter. Suppose if you increasing this effective depth for 600 mm to 1000 mm, the limiting moment it is going to be double. Then double means the limiting moment is more than the applied moment. But whereas if you are providing the effective depth more, the aesthetic view as well as the building representation what you are observing, it will be not good. That's why without changing this cross sectional dimension, we are providing the additional reinforcement to the beam in the compression as well as in the tension. As well as we'll check the limiting depth for this additional moment is resisting or not. That is nothing but mu equal to, we are having the formula 0.138 into FCK into B into D square. This effective depth for this moment is provided depth is sufficient or not, that we have to calculate. That is nothing but D equal to square root of mu divided by 0.138 into FCK into B. If you substitute here, definitely compulsory the effective depth it will be more than the provided. That mu we are having 401.84 into 10 power 6 divided by 0.138 into, where FCK value characteristic strength they are given in the problem as 25 and the width of the beam as 230 mm. If you calculate the effective depth of the beam for this additional moment, we are getting it as 711.36 mm. 711 mm is coming. The depth we are provided for the beam is only 600 mm. For to resist this moment, we have to provide the additional depth as 711 mm. For this type of situations, we have to design this beam as a doubly reinforced beam. Next step, we will calculate the area of the steel reinforcement for compression phase as well as tension phase for the beam as a doubly reinforced beam section. Calculation of reinforcement details. For this calculation of reinforcement details equal to total compressive force equal to total tangential force. Already we calculated this for a singly reinforced beam section in design procedure as well as for a doubly reinforced section. If you see here, total compressive force equal to, this is first we are taking it from the limiting moment. Later we calculate the additional steel reinforcement for the additional moment. That is nothing but total compressive force equal to total tangential force. The total compressive force is 0.36 into FCK into B into XU max, 0.87 into Fi into AST1. This is the tangential force for the limiting movement. From this formula, we have to calculate the area of the steel AST1. this formula also we can take it from the IS 456 code book page number 96. In that we have the total compressive force and the total tensile force. That is AST1 equal to 0.36 into FCK into B into XU max divided by 0.87 into Fy. This is the formula. From this we have to calculate the area of the steel reinforcement for that limiting moment. That AST1 equal to 0.36 into FCK characteristic strength of the concrete. They are given in the problem as 25 Newton per mm square. The width of the beam as 230 mm. XU max is the neutral axis depth or maximum depth of the neutral axis or limiting depth of the neutral axis. That is nothing but K into D. For different types of grades of steel, we are having the different types of neutral axis constant that we can calculate from 700 by 1100 plus 0.87 into Fy. If you substitute the Fy as Fe250, Fe415, Fe500, the values it will may change. For our present condition, for Fe415 grade, for Fe415 grade, we are having the neutral axis constant as 0.48. If you see here, this is 0.48 is we are taking why because our grade of steel we are taking as Fe415 grade steel. Hence we are substituting as 0.48. The 0.48 into where D is the 600 mm. 600 mm is the effective depth we are providing to the beam. If you calculate this area of the steel one, AST1 equal to 1651.18 mm square. That means this steel reinforcement will make resist the beam for the limiting moment. What is the limiting moment acting on the beam? For that beam, this steel reinforcement will sufficient. But we are having the additional moment. That additional moment is nothing but 401.84 something kilonewton meter. For that we have to provide the additional steel reinforcement that we have to calculate. How we are calculating means, again if you see here, we have to calculate the additional steel reinforcement in the bottom zone as well as we have to provide the additional reinforcement in the compression zone. From IS 456 2000 page number 96 and annexure G, nothing but clause G, annexure G 1.0, we are calculating the area of the steel AST2. If you see in our code book, they are mentioned this value of area of the steel AST2. That AST2 they are mentioned in the code book as AST2 equal to ASC into FSC divided by 0.87 into Fy, where ASC is the area of the steel we are providing in the compression zone. FSC is the stress in steel in the concrete. Suppose if you consider this is your rectangular beam, this is your rectangle. Suppose if you consider this is your rectangular beam. For this rectangular beam, I am providing the reinforcement in the top portion as well as I am providing the reinforcement in the bottom portion. Where ASC is the area of the steel reinforcement in the compression phase. ASC is the area of the steel reinforcement in a compression phase. FSC is the stress acting in steel in compression phase. FSC is the stress acting in steel in a compression. That we have to calculate before calculating the area of the steel AST2. How we are calculating means, again this FSC value already while deriving the design of doubly reinforced beam we have discussed that FSC value equal to 0.0035 into 1 minus D dash by XU max into ES. XU max into ES. Without getting this XU, if you not substituting this ES value from table from the graph of IS 456 2000 for this corresponding strain getting into the concrete, the stress in the steel we can calculate it from the graph. Okay, from IS 456 we are having the graph. From this strain will get for this value, for this corresponding strain how much amount of stress is acting on the particular beam, that we can calculate. That FSC equal to 0.0035 into 1 minus D dash by XU max into ES. Suppose if you are not using this modulus of elasticity of the steel, we have to take this value from the graph. We have to take this value from the graph. That graph value while doing the class I will explain. Okay, Fs equal to 0.0035 into 1 minus d dash by xu max, 0.0035 into 1 minus, where d dash is the effective cover we are providing to the beam. We are providing the effective cover to the beam. That effective cover we are taking it as 50 mm. 0.0035 into 1 minus 50 divided by xu max. Xu max is nothing but again limiting depth of the neutral axis. That limiting depth of the neutral axis equal to 0.48 into d, where d is the effective depth of the beam. That effective depth of the beam we are taking it as 600 mm. If you substitute all these parameters, I am getting the stress in steel in concrete it as 578.4 Newton per mm square. Again, there is one more condition. The FSC, it should not always be greater than 0.87 times of yield strength of the steel. That means stress in steel in concrete, always it should not be greater than 0.87 times of grade of the steel. That Fs equal to 0.87 into Fy. That means 0.87 into where Fy is the yield strength of the steel, that is 415. If you substitute, I am getting the stress in steel FSC value as 361.05 Newton per mm square. This value we have to consider. If you see here in our present condition in previous discussion, we have seen that mu is greater than mu limit. Mu is greater than mu limit. For this mu, to resist this additional load, we have to calculate some additional reinforcement. That means because of this additional moment, limiting moment by provision of the section we can calculate. Greater for this value, we are having the some more moment. That moment we are naming it as mu2. Suppose total additional moment. That means total moment acting on the beam, mu equal to mu limit plus we are having the other additional moment value, that is mu. Mu is the total moment value, limiting moment we are calculating. If you subtract the total moment, the limiting moment, the additional moment, how much it is acting on the beam, that we can calculate. That is nothing but I am writing here, where the applied moment mu equal to total applied moment mu equal to mu2. Okay, mu limit, that means limiting moment of the beam plus this additional applied moment. Why? Because the total applied moment is greater than the limiting moment. How much it is more than the limiting moment, that we have to calculate. That more moment we are considering it as mu2. For this mu2 we have to calculate. That means mu2 equal to, that means additional moment equal to total moment minus limiting moment. This additional moment equal to total moment minus limiting moment. That means mu2 equal to mu minus mu limit. Mu minus mu limit. The total moment acting on the beam we are calculated as 401.84 kilonewton meter, where this mu is the additional moment acting on the beam. The additional load acting on the beam, it has 401.84 kilonewton meter. Mu limit already we are calculated, that is nothing but 0.138 into FCK into BD square. That value is the 310.50 kilonewton meter. The limiting moment value we are calculated, that calculated value is 310.50 kilonewton meter. If you subtract the total moment minus limiting moment, we are having the additional moment acting on the beam. That additional moment acting on the beam we are naming it as mu2. For this additional moment we have to provide the additional steel reinforcement. That additional steel reinforcement we can calculate it from the again IS 456 code book. For this additional moment I am getting this value as 91.34 kilonewton meter. 91.34 kilonewton meter. That means this is the additional moment. I am subtracting with the limiting moment. If you subtract the total moment minus limiting moment, I am getting this additional moment as 91.34 kilonewton meter. For this additional moment, I have to provide the additional steel reinforcement in the bottom direction as well as in the top direction. Again, how much amount of reinforcement we have to provide to resist this additional moment, that we have to calculate. How we are calculating? Again, from IS 456 page number 96, for calculation of the area of the steel in compression phase, we are having the one more formula. Again I am writing here, again from IS 456, again from IS 456 2000 page number 96, again from IS 456 2000 page number 96, we are having the formula to resist this additional moment. Area of the steel in compression, area of the steel in compression direction, we are having ASC equal to mu minus mu limit divided by ASC equal to mu minus mu limit, that is nothing but this additional moment. Mu minus mu limit is nothing but additional moment divided by 0.87 FSC into d minus d dash, FSC into d minus d dash. Again this is the formula, we are taking it from the IS 456 2000 code book page number 96. If you observe G 1.2 section with the compression reinforcement, I am reading the class, where the ultimate moment of resistance of section exceeds the limiting moment mu limit. Again I am repeating, where the ultimate moment of resistance of the section exceeds the limiting moment, that means mu is exceeding the mu limit. Mu limit compression reinforcement may be obtained from the following equation. Mu limit compression may be obtained from the following expression, that is mu minus mu limit equal to FSC into ASC into d minus d dash. From this we have to calculate the ASC value, that ASC value equal to mu minus mu limit divided by FSC into d minus d dash. In this area of the steel for the compression reinforcement, all the parameters we know. I am calculating this ASC equal to the additional moment acting on the beam, it has 401.84 minus where limiting moment of the beam, it has 310.5 kilonewton meter divided by we are having the stress in steel. The stress in steel, we should not take this value, we have to take this 0.87 value. When the value you are getting here, it should be less than the 0.87 Fy. In those conditions we can take this value, that means the 0.87 into Fy, the getting value, if it will be less than this value, less than this FSC value, then when we can take this FSC value, that FSC we are having it as 361.05 into d minus d dash, where d is the effective depth we are providing for the beam. The d effective depth we are providing it as 600 mm minus d dash is the effective cover we are providing to the beam. That effective cover we are providing to the beam is 50 mm. If you calculate this FASC value, you will get the area of the steel reinforcement for this compression phase. That area of the steel reinforcement for compression phase, I am getting this value as ASC equal to, and by calculating this value, we are getting this value as 500 mm square. 500 mm square. This is the area of the steel reinforcement we are calculating for the additional moment 91.34 in the compression phase. As well as from the same equation, we should have to calculate the area of the steel 2, AST2 in the bottom direction. We know the ASC value, we know the FSC value. By substituting this ASC, FSC and 0.87 into Fi, you will get the area of the steel 2. Always remember that where FSC value, it should be taking this 0.87 Fy value, then compulsory ASC will be equal to the AST2 value. That means what is the some additional reinforcement we are providing in the bottom of the beam, that same reinforcement we are providing in the top of the beam also. In those situations only when we are taking this value as 0.87 into Fy. Okay, before calculating that, we'll calculate the how many number of bars are using for this compression phase, what is the provide area of the reinforcement for this beam. We'll see now.